Welcome back to another episode of Efficio's Transforming Public Procurement Microcast series, where we're helping you to better understand key elements of the new Procurement Act regulations. This week, we're joined by Oliver Ireland, a consultant from our public sector practice, to learn more about convertible contracts under the new regs. Welcome, Ollie. So what can you tell us on this topic?
Hi, Charles. It's great to be on the series. So, yes, the Act introduces new rules that allow contracting authorities to modify regulated below threshold contracts where the modification would take the value of the contract above the relevant threshold. So these are known as convertible contracts.
Okay, great. And how exactly would we define a convertible contract?
Sure. So a convertible contract can be described as a contract that, firstly, prior to modification, is below threshold. This would be, for example, £140,000 for central government authority goods. Secondly, it's a contract that was established in line with the rules surrounding regulated below threshold contracts. And lastly, it will be above the threshold once a modification takes place. So this is above the £140,000 example for central government authority goods.
Got it. So on what grounds can we modify convertible contracts then?
Yeah, great question. So a modification to a convertible contract is only permitted using the same grounds that apply to above threshold contracts. So for instance, a few of these could be urgency and protection of life, unforeseen circumstances, materialization of a known risk, or the requirement of additional goods or works.
Great, that makes sense. And what are the implications once a modification has happened?
Of course, so once the modification has taken place, the modified contract will be a public contract. This essentially means it must comply with the full scope of the Procurement Act and its transparency requirements, including the duty to follow the contract modifications regime, publish information about payments made under the contract, and publish a contract termination notice when the contract has ended.
Interesting. Do you have an example that we could walk through?
Yeah, of course. So let's say a housing association has procured a contract for a new alarm system at a total value of £200,000 over 4 years. And then in year 2 of the contract, additional equipment is required to ensure the operability and has to be from the same supplier. Then a modification would be made under the additional goods and works grounds. And if that then increases the contract value to exceed the threshold for services contracts, it's now subject to the full scope of the Act. So following the change, the housing association would need to redesign the contract's contract management strategy, taking account of the additional duties that apply during the manage phase, such as the transparency requirements we mentioned around payments or contract termination.
Great. Thanks again, Ollie. That was a really useful summary of convertible contracts and modifications of them under the new regs. We hope you've enjoyed this series of Microcast episodes. Please do post any thoughts or questions in the comments below. And as usual, you can get in touch to our Procurement Act landing page linked above. We're looking forward to sharing more content with you, the new host in 2026.